You gave up a TV job to start a podcast in your basement. If that doesn't scream midlife crisis, I don't know what does.
It was Championship Sunday here in Indianapolis. What's the mindset then coming in as a defending champion?
I want to win. No, I want to win.
The young lady over my shoulder, Caitlin Clark.
Not the best looking guy. And I don't think anyone's going to sit here and say, Matt Randazzo was really good looking.
What has this last month, 2 months, 3 months been like for you? It's an important fan base for the Fighting Illini, is it not?
It is.
He turned 69 years young last week. You look good, Coach.
Oh, try it. Thank you.
Welcome to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo here on a Thursday in the Quad Cities, Thursday, February 12th. Thank you guys for joining us. However, you're watching the show and checking the show out, we always greatly appreciate it. It is Thursday, nearly the end of the week, one more day tomorrow, and then we hit the weekend once again. And it's been a fun week here on the show. So thank you guys for joining us. If you're watching us on YouTube, thank you for doing that. We appreciate that. Make sure you're subscribing. If you have subscribed, thank you. If you have not subscribed, please do so ASAP and be interactive with us. The chat, usually pretty active as well. So a lot to talk about in the world of sports these days. So hop on, chat with us, ask questions for guests, all of those fun things throughout the next couple hours right here on Off the Air. We're also live on X as well. X has been very good to us. So if you're watching on X, thank you for that. We also toss some poll questions up usually every day. So take part in those, give me your feedback on those, all of those kind of things are always greatly appreciated. We can also be found on all the podcasting platforms as well. So whether it's Spotify, iHeart, Podbean, Apple, wherever you get your podcasts, put in Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. You can listen to us as well, subscribe, like, rate, all of those kind of things. They help out the big picture as well. So thank you guys for listening on all the podcasting platforms as well. And as always, we want to welcome our viewers from Central Iowa. We are on each and every night at 7 p.m. on the WHO Plus streaming app. So it's been a ton of fun being on there. Great feedback, all those kind of things. So thank you for watching in Central Iowa as well. It's been a busy month. Busy month. Yes. Busy week, though, as well. On Monday, Tyler Tachman joined us. Pat Anger joined us. Always very entertaining. John Marks and more. So check out Monday's show. Tuesday, Kyle Huseman joined us. Ken Prince joined us. And then Galesburg's head coach for the girls, Lexi DeMott. I covered her when she was Lexi Daniels back in the day. Her second year at Galesburg, doing great stuff. 25-3, I believe, are the streaks. They are ranked number 2 in the state. Very good basketball team. So if you missed that, go check it out. Yesterday's show, Jake Brend, Julian Vandervelde joined us, and we're going to start a new food segment, basically. Coming up with me and Julian in the next couple of weeks. We're going to try, not even try, because probably some of them we've already have. Excuse me. But we're going to check out new places in the Quad Cities, old places to eat in the Quad Cities, food trucks, whatever. Give us your feedback on where you want us to go head out. And we're going to start a little food segment throughout the next couple weeks here on Off the Air. So should be a bunch of fun. Plus Julian, great insight on Iowa football and all those kind of things as well. So Julian on yesterday's show. And then Todd Borison, the Minneapolis girls, undefeated 21-0. One of the best teams in 3A in a loaded 3A. And also somebody who has great insight over girls basketball in general. 3-time state champion, state championship head coach. So great to have Todd Borson on yesterday as well. Coming up on today's show, we got Tom Kakert waiting in the wings. It was a busy night for Iowa basketball, a mixed bag for Iowa basketball. The women get back on track. They snap a 3-game losing streak. The men with arguably, and I don't even think there's an argument, with their worst loss of the season on the road at Maryland. We'll talk all about that. Tom Kakert coming up in just a matter of moments. Later in hour number 1, Aaron Britton from Nesto Hoops is going to join us. I'm really excited about this. Nesto Hoops, one of the best sites, the best people to follow. Aaron Britton, when it comes to high school basketball in the state of Illinois, does a fantastic job. So we're going to pick his brain when it comes to our local teams and the postseason starting a little more than a week. So when it comes to 4A and Rock Island, Moline, those type of schools, 2A, when it comes to Sherrard, Riverdale, those schools, 1A, Newman, Orion, A-Town, Galena, all those kind of things. So we're going to kind of break down the forecast for the postseason with Nesto Hoops. Really excited about that later in hour number 1. And then in hour number 2, the Central DeWitt Girls are MAC champs once again. It's all theirs. They are 17-0 in conference play. They have a chance to go 18-0 on Friday night when they go to Bettendorf to take on a really good Bettendorf team as well. But 3 of their standouts, Ava Putman, Emma Putman, and Kinley Birt, all 3 joining us here on Off the Air coming up later in hour number 2. That should be a bunch of fun as well. We mentioned the headlines from yesterday. Iowa men losing 77-70 at Maryland. Bennett Sturts, 32 points, really good. Not a lot of help from anybody else. No pace, no flow, no rhythm to this game. The referees weren't great. I don't know if that's why Iowa lost. They were bad. Flat out, they were bad. But Iowa shot poorly. That's a nice way to put it, especially from 3. And they come back home with their worst loss of the season. Maryland hadn't beaten anybody all year. It's a quad 3 loss. It's going to look bad. Big picture. Good picture for Iowa. They got a lot of ways to get through this, including a game with Purdue at sold-out Carver Hawkeye Arena coming up on Saturday at 4 p.m. Place should be electric. So they have chances to bounce back, but they also have a tough schedule coming up. So Tom Kakert with more on that in a second. Also, we'll talk women's basketball with them and with him. The women win last night, 65-56. Hannah Stolke with 14 points, and I think she grabbed every rebound possible. She had 16 rebounds. Chit-Chat Wright scored 21. Iowa playing great defense. That was the story. More Hawkeyes, as I mentioned, in a second. Tommy Kakert coming up. Weird week in college basketball. You're looking at Illinois, Iowa State, and Iowa, all just feeling great coming into this week. Iowa State ranked 5th. Illinois, yes, they lost to Michigan State this past weekend, but going home for a game with Wisconsin and then Indiana this weekend, and Iowa winners of 6 straight. And between the last 2 nights, it was Illinois dropping their 2nd straight, one at home to Wisconsin. Yet Iowa State losing to an unranked TCU team. Shout out to Brock Harding. And then Iowa losing on the road to a bad Maryland team. So as good as you feel at some points in college basketball, it changes quickly. And so as bad as you feel to this morning, whether you're an Iowa State, Iowa, Illinois fan, and worried you may be, it can change quickly this weekend as well. We'll talk about what the weekend looks like in college basketball in today's show as well. A little NFL news, combine news. Iowa, 9 players from Iowa invited to the NFL Combine, but 2 of those that didn't make it, Mark Gronowski and Aaron Graves. And I believe both will be drafted coming up in April. So surprised by those 2. I think a lot of Iowa players will do well at the Combine. I think it's going to be a big draft for Iowa players in general, but really surprised that Mark Gronowski, especially the way he played in the Shrine Bowl, did not get an invite to the Combine. So a little surprised about that, but we'll see how Mark Gronowski and the rest of the Hawkeyes do coming up in April. So enough of that kind of stuff. Let's get to the mixed bag for the Iowa Hawkeyes with our first guest. So mixed results for Iowa basketball on a Wednesday night. Tom Kakert from the Hawkeye Report joins us right now. Tommy, we'll go ladies first because I'm a gentleman and because it's the better better thing to talk about. Iowa at home, 3-game losing streak. I don't want to say it was a must win, but the urgency was there to get that victory. Won pretty. How big is that for Iowa moving forward?
Oh, it's huge. Jan made I didn't obviously get to watch the entire game because I was focused on the men's game. Kyle's covering the women, but um, watching a good portion of the second half and a little bit of the first half, just seemed like they, Stremolo moved into the starting lineup. She ends up with 9 points, 4 of 6 shooting, 2 assists, 2 turns. So 32 minutes, she was solid. Um, Chit Chat was great.
Yeah.
21 points, 5 of 8 from 3. So that was a really good performance for her. Hannah was solid. Ava Hayden 11 points. So Hannah was 16 rebounds. Just jumps off the page. Wow. So she got on the glass, and um, nobody else had more than 3 rebounds for Iowa. Hannah had 16 and Ava had 3, and that was it.
She took
Wow.
she took all of them, Tommy. She took everyone that was there.
She dominated the glass. Addie Deal, 4 points, 2 of 8 shooting, 14 minutes. So I think that's going to help her get comfortable too. So just an important win to get them back on track against a pretty good Washington team.
Tom, it felt to me, especially against Minnesota, Iowa's defense wasn't very good. I mean, it just simply wasn't. They played better defense. Obviously, Washington didn't shoot it well, 19% from 3, 4 of 21 from 3. But to hold that team to 56 points, it felt like, Iowa's so used to run up and down, scoring a bunch of points and winning games. Maybe a different way, but I think defensively is where this game was won. Don't you think?
Yeah, I think so. When you can hold a team like Washington to 56 points, you're doing your job on the defensive end, and they're a pretty good 3-point shooting team, and to hold them to 4 of 21 for the game is really impressive. So, um, what else am I looking at here? 19 turnovers for Washington. That's a lot. I mean, that's a lot of opportunities for Iowa to move with the ball, and I have to look at points off turnovers. Points off turnovers, it's only 12-9, so it wasn't a huge advantage for Iowa, but really solid performance, I thought.
Big win for Iowa. They now head to Nebraska, a weird one, on a Monday at 11 a.m. See if they can get back on track and start. It feels to me like they could have. Last year was a 5-game losing streak. This year, like they have that blip. It's a 3-game losing streak. One of them against one of the best teams in the entire country. Really good to see the Iowa women get back on track. We'll see if they can continue that on Monday. Tommy, the men. That was
Bad
that
loss.
that's a. I mean, there's no way to sugarcoat it. I have kids that get cranky when Iowa loses and they jump off the deep end and it's the worst thing ever. But it wasn't
Oh,
good.
I've got people on the message board saying that they're gonna maybe win one more game the rest of the year.
Oh, I have a son that told me they went from being chances of them not making the tournament went from 3% to now 27%. I said, well, if you would have told you in what is it, February 12th, that Iowa had a 75% or whatever chance of making the NCAA tournament, you probably take it at the beginning of the season with a new. But besides all that, it wasn't a good victory. There was no
No,
rhythm. It wasn't a good loss. There was no rhythm to that game at all.
no.
The
The flow was
reviews
terrible.
the reviews
All
seem
the
ridiculously long. Your thoughts on never a flow to that game? Not an excuse, just
Terrible.
never a flow to the game.
No. There wasn't a flow to the game. I thought the same thing. I wrote that on the message boards at times. It was just like there's no flow to this game. It's like they're stuck in neutral, and you just couldn't get going. Um, I thought the other thing down the stretch of the game, I thought the big thing for Iowa was they were just settling for too many threes. And I thought Bennett was a little tired. Housen hadn't played a lot, and he's out there. And yeah, he came in and gave them a real boost. But maybe he was a little winded too. Because Maryland was in such foul trouble at that point in the game. You know, they had like 4 guys with 4 fouls or something like that, 3 or 4 guys with 4 fouls. And your mentality there should probably be, let's get to the rim. And they really didn't try to get to the rim and try to get some action going. And I think, what were they, 3 of 16 in the second half from 3, and they missed their last 13. They had the only 3 they made were 3 in a row. Bennett hit one, then Housen hit back-to-back threes, and that was it. And that was with 11 minutes, the last 11 minutes of the game. They did not make a 3.
And you felt, Tom, like it felt like Washington in a way where they didn't play good in the first half. Maryland's the worst shooting team in the Big Ten, and they played well in the first half. And you felt like, okay, and then that stretch you just talked about, back-to-back threes, you thought, okay, here comes Iowa.
They're up 51 to 50.
Yeah, they're going to start pulling away. What was it? And I hate to be the guy. We've talked about officiating way too much on this show, whether it's my getting technicals in 5th grade or Ken not liking the referees in Illinois games. It played a factor in the game, didn't it? I don't want to say Iowa lost because of the referees. I don't know how that wasn't a foul late in the game when Bennett got the goaltend and then he got ass in his face, basically.
Clobbered.
Yeah.
He got clobbered. I mean, how do you just, I know you miss calls every once in a while, but the dude's laying in a puddle underneath the bucket, trying to put his teeth back in or something. I mean, it was just, how do you miss that? But you'll call hand checks at the other end.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know. And it wasn't, and the fouls were pretty equal. I mean, there were, Iowa had 24 and they had 18. So, I mean, it was pretty equal. I mean, it wasn't terrible. And Iowa fouled down the stretch. So I'm not saying that. And let's be honest, Iowa would have gotten beaten a lot worse if Maryland would have made some free throws. They were 19 of 28 from the foul line. So, 68% from the foul line. Iowa's probably lucky they didn't lose by double figures. But it is hard to win when you shoot 25% from 3. And Iowa was 7 of 28. When you're going to hoist 28 of them and you make 7, it is hard to win. And Iowa shot the ball really well. Here's the thing. It was kind of the opposite of, in some ways, of what Iowa has been doing, which is getting out of the gate really slow and not making shots. Iowa was shooting almost 70% early in the game, first half. First part of the first half, about the midway point in the first half, they were shooting the ball really well, getting lots of easy buckets. And then, poof, they just could not throw it in the ocean after that 11-minute mark when they had those 4 threes. And Alvaro, last 2 games, he had 6 points, and he had 0 tonight. And he had a couple of nice assists. But Iowa is 11-0 when he scores in double figures.
Yeah.
You want a barometer for things? There it is. And he's turning down shots now. It feels like he can't make a shot right now. He's turning down some open jumpers. And, Coop just had some rollout today. I mean, those shots look pretty good for the most part. He made one of them. He had some that rolled out. I don't have any complaints with his shots. Housen was taking some from Kingsbury land a couple times, but he had made a couple. So, it's a little bit of a heat check. I don't mind that. But they're not getting as much offense from Isaiah Howard right now either. and it just seems like everything is dependent on Bennett saving the day, and you can't. It's hard to make a run in March, and it's hard to win basketball games this time of the year if you've got one guy that you feel like can get you a bucket.
Yeah. I mean, you look at Tavian Banks had 13, but other than that, you go down the list, and Howard didn't score. Alvaro didn't score. Coop had 3 points. You look at it, Tom, and there's two ways to look at it.
Holmes had what, 2?
I think 4. Yeah,
Holmes-
4
4?
points.
He had 4.
Free throws. 4 free throws.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Didn't make it back.
30 yards.
At what point? So there's two ways teams will look at this. Let Bennett get his and limit everybody else, or what do you take away Bennett? And there's not much. It's always been a concern for this team this year is who's that secondary scorer. And when they're playing well, you're like, oh, it could be that guy. He's played well. Fulgaris has played well. Coop's been playing well. But too many times, and Minnesota might have been one of that cases too, nobody else is there and they're in trouble. What moving forward, they can't. Somebody's got to step up when it comes to. I mean, you look at. We talked about Bennett being Big Ten Player of the Year. We've had that debate this week on the show. I mean, 32 points. If you got your guy getting 32 points, 6 assists, no turns, you should probably win that basketball game. At Maryland.
Iowa only had 4 turnovers and lost by 7, and Maryland had 14 turnovers. It's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, it's
crazy. They had 4 turnovers the whole night. That's it. And just shot terrible from 3. Although it's like I look at Maryland. Maryland's 8 of 23. It wasn't like they were lighting it on fire, but that Mills guy was hitting shots tonight, and he's a 33% shooter from 3, and he hits
3
of 6 from 3. Coit wasn't great, but that I thought maybe the biggest bucket of the night, as it turned out, was the Elijah Saunders hitting that 3 to make it 70-64. Because Iowa had cut it to 3, and you thought, boy, if they get a stop, and he had just buried one from the wing, and then it just became a foul game. Then Iowa just seemed like they were chasing uphill.
I think it was a trip before that, Tom. They cut it to 3, and then it was this stupid, weird hand check against an 88% field goal shooter. And it wasn't even a hand check. I mean, you look at it too. There was a and one. I don't want to get back into the referees, but there was an and one where the guy didn't get touched. It reminded me of the Illini game the other night where there was a foul. I just call what you see. It was such. I was texting with the Bear Cage, who unfortunately could be with us today. He was hoping to, busy today, not dodging us. He said by any stretch of the imagination, but no rhythm was his main thing. Was just no rhythm to the game at all. Iowa lost. I know you got to get going, so I want to ask you a couple quick more. Iowa loses to Minnesota earlier this year, and at that point, I was like, Tom, I like that going against Illinois at home coming up. Like, I feel like that gets them back on track, and then they lose to Illinois as well. They can't play. My concern isn't who's next. My concern is the way Iowa's playing right now, because they didn't play well at home against Northwestern and they won. They didn't play well against USC. They didn't play well against Rutgers. They didn't play well. Go ahead.
I told a friend of mine tonight after the game, I said, you know what? They've been playing with fire and they got burned.
That's a great way to put it. So my concern isn't Purdue coming in. And unfortunately, I feel like they've gotten back on track, which stinks, of course, this time. But it's the way Iowa's playing. Quickly, let's move ahead to Saturday. How does Iowa win?
I actually like that Purdue won this week, because I think they would have been super, super desperate coming into Iowa City had they lost. So they're going to have to rebound the ball better. That's the number one thing for me. They've got to rebound the ball. Too many second chance opportunities for my tastes, especially early in the game when they could have maybe built a little bit of a lead and broken this Maryland team a little bit. They got to keep the barometer guy for Purdue, I think, is Fletcher Lawyer. So they've got to keep him in check. If he goes off for like 20 or something, Purdue is really, really hard to beat. They're going to have to keep Kaufman-Renn off the glass. He had a bunch of rebounds. Like I said, it comes down to rebounding the ball. And they've got to have some. Alvaro's got to show up. He's got to play big. He's got to give him some offense, not just be. He's a really good passer, and I really like Alvaro as a player. But for Iowa to reach their full potential, they need him to put the ball in the bucket. That's just how this is.
I mean, and I don't even know, Tom, if he needs to get to double figures. He can't throw up any more goose eggs. I know it's super early. I know you haven't got a chance to look at certain things about it and all those kind of things. Chances, we haven't played the percentage game in a while on old school. Iowa can win on Saturday. Your thoughts on Saturday?
Oh, yeah. I think they're going to win. I said this before. I said I think they're going to win this game. I do. I just think that sellout crowd, I think this team will bounce back. I really do, because I think their pride was probably pretty damaged in the loss to Maryland, and I suspect we're going to get a really inspired effort from them as a team. Now Purdue, they're really good. I'm a big Matt Painter guy. I like Paint a ton. He's as good as they come. Paul Lusk on that bench too, former Hawk. They have a lot of good things on that team, and they're really, really, really well coached. Maybe the best coached team in the conference. But they've got some warts. They just do. I mean, they the other night, they were up 22 at Nebraska and probably should have lost.
Thank God they didn't. Thank God they didn't. That's all I could think of was like, thank God they didn't blew a 20-point lead and then come to Iowa City the next game. It would have been ugly.
Because Paint would have had them ready to go. And he'll still have them ready to go. But
before you go, we talked about we had this poll question up earlier this week, and since then nothing's changed. Keaton Wagler had a really good game against Wisconsin and lost. And Iowa had a really good, or Bennett Sturts, despite 4 of 10 from 3, he was still 13 of 21 from the field. He was still 13 of 21 from the field, 32 points, 6 assists. Who's of those two, who's the Big Ten player of the year? Who's got a better case right now?
I always give it to guys who, I think if you're going to be the MVP of a league, you have to be on the team that's got a chance to win the title. And that's Illinois. Illinois has a chance to win the title. They're in that mix. Not as sure as they were the other day after they dropped the game to Wisconsin. But, I'll be, I thought, I read some of the comments online it was Illinois fans basically that were responding. And, it's okay to say that, it was like they were insulted that you were even having the conversation.
That was my whole
point. Bennett Sturts, they were insulted that how dare you? This is a kid who, and I've talked to several NBA scouts this year, okay? Talked to several of them. And they all say, Wagler probably, he's a potential lottery pick now. Bennett Sturts is, every one of them said, he's late lottery or right after lottery. That's their evaluation of him as a player. Okay? The John R. Wooden Award watch list just got cut to 20 players. Guess who's on there? Bennett Sturts. That's 20 players, not in the Big Ten, kids. Not just Big Ten players. There's, I think, 6 of them on there, including Keaton Wagler. He's on there too. But they were like, well, he'll be lucky to be second team All Big Ten, according to the Illini fans.
Yeah.
Who who are crying about the officials after every game. It's just, come on, give the kid his flowers. He's a really good player. And so is Wagler. He's a really good player too.
What I'll say about Bennett is, coming from the Valley to the Big Ten, he's improved almost in every category. And that's amazing to me. He was a preseason All-American, and he's exceeding expectations probably at the Big Ten level.
Coming into before and I haven't looked at the full season stats again, but coming into this week, he was a borderline 50-40-90 guy, which is 50% from the floor, 40% from three, and 90% from the line. He's at like 85% from the line. That's extraordinary stuff. If you can do that.
Yeah.
He's pretty good. He's a good player, and it's okay to say, you know what, he's really good. I think Keaton Wagler's better because he's an Illini player and they have a better record. That's okay. You don't have to belittle the other guy to make the case for your own guy, is my point. And some of the stuff that the Illinois fans was insulting.
Yeah.
It was insulting.
I thought it was a great question. I think that either one could win it. The last 7 games are going to tell a lot. And there's other guys too.
And Braden Smith is a great player. Yeah, Jeremy Fierce was on that list for the Wooden Award, and so's the Michigan forward, Yaxel Lunenborg, or I think is his name. He was on there.
Yeah.
And Braden Smith was on there. Braden Smith's a great player. We'll get to see him on Saturday. It's awesome.
What a great matchup that's going to be. Braden Smith, Bennett Sturts. Great game, Iowa City. I'm disappointed the Dazzler didn't make an appearance. So I guess
he's after Iowa losses, he can't appear. Say his name and he appears. Say his.
All right, Tommy, get out. Hey, real fast. Tom, Tanner, and Kyle cut a great podcast last night. It's up right now. Hawkeye Report podcast. Talk about a busy night for Iowa athletics and then everything that's going on with wrestling. So this was like a little sampler of Tom Kakert. If you want the whole Tom Kakert experience, do people want that?
God.
Do people sign up for that?
Nope.
Bye, Tommy.
They just caught me on a cranky. I'm a cranky old man about the Illini stuff. That was just.
You're not a cranky old man. Hey.
I bite my tongue on social media now. I just don't say anything because it's not worth it.
Speaking of being an old man, somebody's turning 60 soon.
Yeah, I don't know who that is.
I'll say his name. Don Umland is actually who it is.
Don Umland's turning 60.
Somebody else too.
Say his name and he appears.
All right, I just want to get out of here before the Dazzler appears. So see you, pal. That is Tom Kakert joining us right here on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. Crazy night for Iowa. Busy night for Iowa, both the women and the men. Mixed results. The women getting back on track, and it's a bad loss for Iowa. There's no way to spin it, make yourself feel any better. 6-game losing streak comes to an end. I think you scrap it, forget it, because the troubled Iowa fan that's worried about winning another game the rest of the season, all those kind of things, will be completely different if they can beat Purdue at a jam-packed Carver Hawkeye Arena. And I think it's an opportunity on the court itself to beat a really good team, get a quality win, get back on track, all of those kind of things. I think it's an opportunity marketing-wise as well for Iowa to have a jam-packed Carver Hawkeye Arena and for them to deliver and people to leave with an Iowa victory, because I think it's 3 days later. I think it's Tuesday night at 8 o'clock. They'll take on Nebraska back at Carver Hawkeye Arena once again. So 2 huge home games coming up for the Iowa Hawkeyes. See if they can get back on track. Speaking of basketball, we're going to go to the high school level for the rest of the show. Coming up next, the postseason is here for the guys in Illinois. They'll start it up probably less than a week and a half. No one knows more about Illinois high school basketball than Aaron Britton, who runs Nesto Hoops. He's going to join us after the break, talk about the 4A schools, UT, Rock Island, Moline. 2A is loaded. 1A is super loaded when it comes to Newman and Orion and A-Town in our area and Galena right up the river. So much to get to. Really excited to welcome Aaron Britton from Nesto Hoops to the show right after this. Then coming up a little bit later on, we'll go to the Iowa side and we'll talk to the MAC champs trio from Central DeWitt Girls. Will join us after they've clinched the MAC championship. A great season up in DeWitt. So a lot more to get to. You're watching a busy edition of OTA on a Thursday. We'll be right back. All right, be honest. Are you craving Hungry Hobo again? You know, that fresh sliced meat piled high on those amazing sandwiches, hot off the grill chicken and steak with all those delicious toppings, the biggest and best selection of baked potatoes, or simply some waffle fries dipped in cheese. Well, now that Quad City favorite is even easier to get. Download the Hungry Hobo app today. Order ahead, skip the line, and earn rewards all at the same time. There's Double Points Monday and exclusive specials as well. With 12 locations in the Quad City area, it's Hungry Hobo. Now even easier to find, but still hard to resist.
Rafferty Funeral Home, dedicated to serving families in the Quad Cities since 2007.
Hi, welcome. Here, come on in.
An experienced staff plans each service to reflect the unique life and legacy of your loved one. Rafferty Funeral Home is proud to serve our community with dignity, respect, and compassion, helping you to celebrate your traditions and lasting memories no matter your faith, culture, or budget. Rafferty Funeral Home in Moline. Call today to discuss prearrangements.
When it comes to quality, convenient pizza, Godfather's Pizza in Silvis has you covered. Featuring a beautiful dine-in area, delivery, and a carry-out window. Godfather's Pizza is that pizza you grew up with, not a convenience store. You see, at Godfather's Pizza, the dough is made fresh daily. That mozzarella cheese is shredded fresh, frozen. Those toppings are abundantly piled high each and every time. Locally owned and operated since 2010, Godfather's is a huge supporter of local athletes right here in the Quad Cities. So come on by and check them out at 1211 Avenue of the Cities in Silvis. Order online at godfathers.com and reunite with that same delicious pizza you grew up with. Welcome back to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo here on a Thursday in the Quad Cities. It's an awesome time of year when it comes to high school basketball. We've talked about March Madness. I always talk about that February frenzy where it really gets rocking and rolling. The postseason right around the corner for both basketball players in Iowa and in Illinois. In Illinois, the boys start their postseason play in about a week and a half, and several local teams will be hitting the tourney trail with high expectations and thoughts of doing some really good things. And when it comes to covering high school basketball in the state of Illinois, they don't get any better than Aaron Britton from Nesto Hoops. Really excited to first off meet you and then to have you on the show. I've been following along, and I've had some buddies in recent years. Their kids have been playing high school basketball, and they're like, Nesto Hoops, man. Nesto Hoops, man. That guy knows his stuff. So first and foremost, thank you for doing this. I appreciate it.
Yeah, pleasure's all mine, Matt. Thanks for reaching out, and it's a pleasure to chat with you.
You do a great job. You love high school basketball. I got to get your background, your story. When did you fall in love with not just basketball, but high school basketball here in the state of Illinois?
I'm from the Mounds Meridian School District in the Deep South. It's like 8 miles north of Cairo. It's about as deep as you can get in the state of Illinois. And basketball's always been a very big part of high school sports down there. We don't play high school football in our conference. We play fall baseball and spring baseball, and in the winter there's basketball.
Wow. And
a lot of us that played baseball, we weren't real good at it. So basketball's always been the meal ticket for everybody down there. And then I grew up falling in love with the Kentucky Wildcats and watching tape-delayed basketball games on WPSD out of Paducah, Kentucky. They'd play a Jefferson Pilot broadcast after the 10 o'clock news, and it's just grown from there. I was on all of the grade school teams, junior high teams, and high school teams. I wasn't very good, but I was, somebody's got to sit the bench, and that was my role.
When did so you kind of like me, I wasn't great, so I wanted to continue to be involved with it. Talk about the development of, obviously you're now located out of Rockford, excuse me, but what did you decide, like, hey, I want to cover this stuff, I want to give my opinion, I want to be part of the process when it comes to high school basketball and what it is here in the state of Illinois?
Yeah, in the early 2000s, way before social media, there was message boards. That was about all you had online, where you could interact with other people, and there'd just be this vitriol of opinion, and people would be yelling at you in all caps and all the exclamation points. And one of the best message board sites was IllinoisHighSchoolSports.com. You get lots of good scores, lots of good schedules, and you could have the banter. That has now morphed into what social media is. So I was on there for quite a few years. And then when social media started to take off, in 2010 or 11, I was finding scores on Twitter. And so I created an account there and just started slowly, I was tweeting for many, many years and had no followers, so it was literally just the love of tweeting a score or taking a gym picture. So that's been the etymology of it, just compiling my own data. One of the frustrating parts of high school sports in Illinois is there's no one spot to go to get all the conference standings, all the tournament schedules, who's in what class. The IHSA does a great job of that for football, and they're getting better at that on the basketball side of things. They've got that March Madness app that they've rolled out a few years ago. But it was just trying to find a reputable source that I could find all this stuff. And finally I said, you know what, I'll just do it myself. Yeah. And it started with a few conferences, and then, there were, I'm a small school kid at heart. So, it started with, like the HOIC out of the Bloomington area, and the NUIC up in the northwest part of the state. And just, trying to wrap my arms around a few conferences, and then it was a very organic growth, and getting all the conferences, all the teams. And then in 2016 is when I was able to get, basically all the teams, all the schedules, and all the conferences in this one massive spreadsheet. And then the following year, I was able to find a way to get it into a shareable website. And, website isn't, it's not pretty. There's not a lot of bells and whistles. There's like 3 buttons. You can email me, you can donate, or you can download the spreadsheet, and that's it. And prior to that, I was emailing this spreadsheet around to like 50 different coaches, and it just got a little cumbersome doing that like every other day. And at this time of year, when because I have the sectional breakdowns for every sectional and all 4 classes, and coaches have been using that information, for at least the last 10 years. So having it out there to where they can just, kind of go hunt and fish for themselves is making it a lot easier on my part. Now I just have to worry about getting all the scores.
Yeah, absolutely, and you're doing a great job of that. Aaron Britton from Nesto Hoops joining us right now on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. Aaron, you look at it, and the postseason's right around the corner. I believe on Wednesday you put out your projections for what you think seeds will be and all of those kind of things. I want to kind of go through our area with you, because there are really good teams in our area here in the Quad Cities and the surrounding areas as well. We'll start at the top in 4A, and Rock Island's had a really good season. Moline is right there with them. It looks like, now there's work to be done, that they'll tie for the Western Big Six championship. There's a few more games left, but both have 1 loss. They split in the regular season. Rockies probably got an upper hand when it comes to body of work. Your thoughts on where those 2 teams land in the postseason, and maybe your thumb can do more when it comes to the postseason play.
Yeah, Rocky had a lot of there was some hype coming into the season. They had a lot coming back. They had some transfers, so there's a lot of juice there, and they're 23-4 currently. The non-conference schedule isn't great, and the Western Big Six, compared to the last few years, it's down. I think everybody would admit that it's comparatively to where it's been, at least since COVID. But the sectional is still, I want to be careful using the term wide open, because everybody can't win it, but there are 4 or 5 teams even going down into the Metro East area that are thinking we can win this, and Rocky and Moline and even UT could get hot. They played Rocky to a really close game last night. It's just it's going to come the way that they're doing the pairings. IHSA is going with a straight seed pairing this year instead of worrying about the geography of who's closest to what host and all that. So it's going to come down to where UT's seated and where Minooka's seated, and if UT's going to be a 5 and Rocky's a 4, then Normal's going to come up, and Richwoods and Rocky probably go over to Minooka, which is a long trip across the interstate.
No, absolutely, absolutely. When you look at that too, and they battle all the time. Rock Island, and you mentioned the Western Big Six. I would agree. I think it's down, and I mean, you talk about some state champions when it came to Moline recently. Quincy's been really good of late, so I think probably down a little bit. Rock Island hosts the sectional, I believe, if that's the case. If they can get through, and as I say, and my Moline and United Township viewers are probably like, they're not going to, but if Rock Island gets through, I mean, what does it look like after that? Because teams come to Rock Island, it's a good advantage, but I know that things get much more difficult, or I don't want to say much more difficult, but the more you go, you're going to get to see really good teams along the way.
Yeah, I would expect that. If Rocky were to be fortunate enough to win a regional, probably going to run into Normal in that first round of the sectional, and on a neutral court in the State Farm title game, back a few days after Christmas. And then the winner of that game would play the winner of the Metro East area, which I think Edwardsville's probably in line to get a 1 seed at this point, but Alton could win it. Belleville West could. There's 3 or 4 teams down there that could win a regional. But you're going to have to beat one of those teams. Edwardsville hosts a regional, and so does O'Fallon. So I would on paper, I would say Edwardsville would be coming all the way up. It's a long trip for them, but if you're Rocky, you've got to think that you're sitting in a pretty good spot. If we can get through a regional, we're going to be hosting, and if they can fill up the Rock Garden, that would be better for them.
Is there a way that, I'm sure there is, but can a regional championship be Rocky Moline? Can it be, and the things aren't, can it be UT Rock Island? What is there a chance that a Western Big Six rivalry could headline a regional coming up in a few weeks?
Yeah, I think just kind of looking at it here, I think Normal is going to be the 1 seed. I think Rocky is probably going to be the 2. Richwood's probably a 3. And Moline and UT be 4 and 5. If somehow, if one of those teams were to get into the 3 seed line, then you'd have Rocky and Moline in a regional. But I don't expect that to be the case. But you're also going to have a situation where you could have Moline and UT playing in a first round game or that regional semifinal. So.
Which is why
that's going to have a little juice to it.
Yeah, absolutely it does. Absolutely it does. Aaron Britton from Nesto Hoops joining us right now and off the air with Matt Randazzo. Not to skip 3A, but our 3A teams aren't the most prominent when it comes to what they can do in the postseason. 2A is really interesting to me because Riverdale had a lot of success this season. Sherrard's had a lot of success, and they're coming off that great run last year where Sherrard did what they did, and they lost some players from that team, but they got some experience back, and they've have some really good wins, and their schedule has challenged them a little bit as well. Your thoughts on Sherrard, Riverdale, maybe where they might land in the postseason coming up in a few weeks?
Yeah, Sherrard, I think they're on a 2-game losing streak now. They lost to Downers North at UT over the weekend, and I think did they get beat the other night.
They won on Tuesday against Kewanee.
They lost at home to Riverdale Friday night.
Yeah.
But I think those are still the 2 best teams in that subsectional, at least from a seeding standpoint. IVC out of Chillicothe, I think they could be a 3 seed. They play the toughest schedule in that subsectional. So they're right around 500, but they can win a regional. I think they could beat Girard or Riverdale if they were to play either one of those teams. But Sherrard is, like I said, they're on there's like a sports, they're on a high right now. They had a really good run last year. They had a nice run the year before that. And, I didn't expect them to win the conference this year, and it looks like they're going to win it again this year.
You look at that, and Friday night they played Riverdale and Sherrard. How close is Riverdale to that seed? And I think in your predictions you kind of had it Sherrard a 1 seed, Riverdale a 2. Did that change? Obviously, it didn't change because of Friday night. Is that and where does that sectional go to?
Yeah, I don't. So they split in the regular season, but overall body of work, I still like what Sherrard has done. IVC hosts the sectional, and then your regional hosts are Farmington and Rock Ridge. And depending on where Farmington is seated, Sherrard could be the top seed, and then have to drive by Rock Ridge, or Rock Ridge is right down the road.
Yeah,
and they would end up in for 2 games instead of Rock Ridge. With the way that IHSA has changed the delineation of the bracket rules this year.
So basically that big change, Aaron, is that it's not about being close. It's just they've kind of reseeded to the best teams go certain places, and they're not worried about geography, right?
Right. Yeah, it's just, if you look at your traditional bracket rules, if you had the 1 seed would play the 16 seed. And if you have 8 teams, the 1 seed would play the 8 seed. And it wouldn't matter if you were close or not. It's just going to be it comes down to where the hosts are seated.
Gotcha. In 1A, boy, there's so many good teams in 1A you can talk about because Newman is really good. Orion is had a really good season as well. A-Town from our kind of area down in Abingdon and Avon, 25-3. Galena, you go north, and that kind of covers where we're at. When my old TV area I like to look at, they're 22-6. I guess I'm all over the place. Let's start with maybe Newman and Orion. I believe they're together. They'd be together. Kind of talk about that, because that's 2 really good teams. And I'm not being a homer, but Alleman's sitting there with 7 wins, and they're coming out of the Western Big Six, and it's one of those. It's a different. I mean, they're a 1A. They're back. They're down to 1A right now. That grouping is really intriguing to me. Your thoughts on that side of things?
It is, and we can start with Alman, because they're dropped to 1A, and I believe that they were granted the multiplier waiver, which allowed them to drop into 1A, because with the multiplier, they would have been 2A. They host a regional. They played Newman to a really tight game prior to Christmas. So that they're a team that I think no matter where they're seated, and they may end up being misseeded because their record is so poor. But wherever they're seated, I think they could end up potentially in a final. And on their home court, and I think that place will be hot tonight.
No, absolutely. Aaron Britton joining us on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. Or obviously you mentioned Newman, and I've seen them play several times. Coach Sharp does a fantastic job, and they have some signature victories earlier in the season. They've recently lost to Mendota. I think even last weekend, and nothing against Erie Prophetstown, but it was a sleepish 9-point victory or so around that against Erie Prophetstown. I feel like, and maybe you can answer it this way, I feel like it's okay to lose every once in a while, because the pressure of being undefeated is something, in my opinion. Your thoughts on Newman right now? And obviously they're going to be a top seed, a heavy seed going into things. Where are you at with Sterling Newman right now?
I have seen them. They're one of the few teams that I've been able to see in person this year. I watched them beat Mendota the first time that they played, and that was a very good game. It was a 1-point game. I currently have Newman as my number 1 team in 1A, and they're very good. And as you mentioned, Sharp's a really good coach. They're going to run a 1-3-1 in the half court, and they're going to run it in the full court. And I think that will end up being the difference maker if they do make it through that sectional. It's just their relentless defensive pressure and the way that they guard. Mostly in the NUIC, a lot of those teams, they don't press, so you're able to walk the ball up the court, and that's not going to happen against Newman. And you're going to have to be able to take care of the ball, because they are an explosive offensive unit. There's a lot of teams that can methodically pull away and they can do that, but they can also like flip a switch. And when the threes are falling and they're turning you over, it was 20-20, and now all of a sudden it's 35-22, and you're like, what just happened? It was 2 minutes ago.
Yeah, you're right. I saw Newman against Alleman earlier this year when you were talking about this was the game right after Christmas, and I was impressed with Newman. Alleman played really well that night as well, but they're long, they're lanky. When they knock down threes, and you tell they got shooters all over the place. They can do some really good things. Orion and Kyler Owens is really a special basketball player, and has been doing it at a high level in this area for a while. They're coming out of that Three Rivers Conference, and we mentioned Sherrard and Riverdale already. They've been battle tested. They go to 1A. Where do you see them, and what kind of future can they have in a really good sectional or grouping right there?
Yeah, I expect Eastland to be the 2 seed and Orion to be the 3, and that. So it would just rely on where BV and Allman are seeded, but they're going to be in the same regional, whether it's at Allman or at Bureau Valley. And it's kind of a tale of two different teams. Eastland likes to grind you out in the half court with good man-to-man, and they like the game in the 40s and the 50s, and then Orion can kind of get up and down the court, and they like the game to be in the 60s and sometimes even in the 70s. So the contrasting styles there are have the potential to make that game really special. Who can dictate pace, and who can, Easton's going to want to stay in front of them.
A few more maybe smaller schools, A-Town and Galena. A-Town sitting there at 25-3, having a really good season. I think your projection had them as the 1 seed in the sectional. Yep. Are they battle tested enough for you? And your thoughts on A-Town moving forward?
I think they are battle tested just enough. They played Route before. It was the day before the Great Western Shootout there before Christmas, and then Route came up there and played in that shootout against another team. So they lost to Route by like 13 on that Friday night, and then A-Town beat Peoria Notre Dame in their shootout by 6 or 7 points. The Lincoln Trail isn't, it's not as deep as it has been in the past, but Anawan, Galva, they're teams that could end up playing for a regional final. A-Town is currently undefeated in that conference. They should win the conference tournament at the end of the year. They kind of stubbed their toe against East Dubuque at the Fulton shootout a few weekends ago. But I think they're a team that, their backbone and their identity is we're going to guard you and we're going to hold you to 40 points or less. And those are the teams that I tend to favor come postseason, because anybody can have an off shooting night, but if you can guard, if you only have to score 48, 49 points and you can still win, then that says something about you.
Galva, and it's been a while since Galva's had a successful basketball team and all those kind of things. Obviously, maybe not a regional championship or anything like that, but you mentioned them in the LTC. They've been a fun story so far this season, haven't they?
Yeah, they have, and they had a season last year that kind of, caught your attention if you just paid close enough attention to it, and they had a lot of kids coming back, and I saw them at the Lamoille Holiday Tournament a few days after Christmas, and they lost in the title game of that tournament. So they're 20-7. They lost to Anawan last night in a tight game at home. They probably can't win a regional final, but I think they might be able to get there. And once you're there, especially in 1A, it's basically a hat toss at that point.
Yeah. No, absolutely. One last one I wanted to pick your brain about. Galena, way up in that northwest corner of the state. They're sitting there at 22-6. Talk about their road to getting to that record. I think you saw them. I think I saw a projection, maybe a 2 seed is what I maybe saw you projected. Their thoughts on your thoughts on the Pirates and how far they can go.
I think they're on about a 10-game winning streak. They beat East Dubuque in 4 overtimes last week. They have 3 games to finish out the regular season. River Ridge, Stockton, and Scales. Those are all winnable games. So you're looking at 25-6 going into the postseason. And, it's either going to be Pecatonica, that 3 seed, or East Dubuque. So it's going to be a hard-fought regional title game. But then where it gets fun is if they were to get the sectional as that 2 seed, then they're gonna hook up with Newman in that first round of the sectional, and and they played. I think they played down at the Workins Classic in the semifinal down there. I think Newman beat them by 3 in overtime.
Yeah. No, Newman's been so battle tested.
Yeah.
Aaron, you look at it, and we talked a lot about these teams. I don't know if you like to do these predictions, so if you don't, tell me to shut up. In 1A, is there you mentioned you have Newman, I think, is your number 1 team in 1A. If would that be your pick all these teams we're talking about, that's probably the one you can see go the farthest? And is there a state champion in 1A, a possible state champion in 1A? Would it be Newman if that's the case?
1A is traditionally the most, wide open of the 4 classes. I think at the start of each postseason, there's 10 to 12 teams that can realistically win it. Just going to hinge on the matchups and, who plays who at what time. This year, there may be a few more teams. I still think maybe there's 15 teams out there that could potentially win 1A. I think there's a reality where Newman can win it. But they're also one bad shooting night away from not winning a regional title. And that's the beauty of 1A hoops is, these teams aren't, there are some teams that are deep, but they are not deep enough to overcome a bad night. Especially, because Newman, they like to shoot a lot of threes and they're not going to stop. So, if they're 1 for 14 in the first half, which is what happened when they played Mendota the first time, and all of a sudden they hit like 9 threes in the second half. Well, if they go 2 for 28, then that's how you lose to Allman in a regional title game, Yeah. So it's, and I think there's the last 2, my last 2 number 1s going into the postseason for 1A have not reached the state semifinal. So I don't know if you want to be number 1 by me going into the postseason.
If you're a Newman listener or viewer, just ignore that last part. Ignore it. Don't. In 2A, do you think Sherrard or Riverdale's more primed for now Riverdale just beat him on Friday, but Sherrard's probably more battle tested when it comes to, I know it wasn't the stars coming back, but they got guys from what they did last year, heck, 2 years ago, that are still doing really good things. Carter Brown and Veranda and those guys as well.
Yeah, I think, first and foremost for that, for everybody in that sectional outside of Manual, it's let's just win a regional. And then, Manual has had problems getting out of that sectional, and Sherrard gave them everything they could handle in that sectional final last year. Yeah. And then Macomb knocked them off in the Canton sectional 2 years before that. So Manual is, they're the team, they're the big bad bully that everybody's going to have to get through. And Sherrard, probably wouldn't see Manual until a sectional final if it were to work out that way. Riverdale would potentially see them in the first round of a sectional. And, Manual has 9 losses, but, they play the toughest schedule in 2A. Yeah. They're in the Big 12. They technically it's within their right to be 2A, but I think 2A is, especially this sectional, is far more intriguing if Manual is not in it.
You have a lot of people in this area that agrees with that statement, Aaron. A lot of people in this area that would applaud you for what you just said.
But that's not the reality that we have. So,
yep, you got to deal with it
to wake everybody up from their dream.
Do you? And I'm not gonna answer it because, you look at Moline and Rocky, and they're two. You mentioned Rock Island. The body works better. Probably the schedule hasn't been as tough. If there's someone that's, it feels like Rock Island, if they could probably make the most noise afterwards because they're hosting it, but don't get yourself mistaken. If Moline somehow wins that regional or can win that regional, there'll be plenty of Moline fans at Rock Island. So, who do you, and coaching wise, both guys do a great job. Sean Taylor, it was great. That first game where Moline beat Rock Island, they dictated the tempo. They played the game they wanted to play, and they won the basketball game. And that's the beauty of high school basketball. Rocky, Moline, I'll let you pick.
Well, hopefully they don't play at all. That'll, make my pick that much better. Sean Taylor is a Hall of Fame coach for a reason. He's won a couple state titles, so it's hard to, he's not going to lose many coaching battles head to head. He's just that good. I think Rock Island is more talented, straight up, man for man. But I think Rock Island has the highest ceiling. And then, somebody's going to play for a super sectional, somebody, and no matter how down the Western Big Six may be, or the Big 12 may be, somebody's going to win it. And somebody's going to run into, whether it's HF or Marist, somebody like that. I don't even know if they know who's hosting that super sectional yet.
Yeah, I don't think they do.
Which is another but bizarre aspect of it. Traditionally, I think that's been the ISU super. And then you get into a one-game scenario, and what has been Rock Island has. I mean, for all their wins, I did expect them to be just a little bit better this year. And because I had them in the preseason top 10 for 4A, and I liked what they had coming back and the transfers that they had coming over. They took Molene's point guard, Arthur Abbey, and then they got the big kid from Riverdale. So I thought they had an opportunity potentially to go undefeated in the regular season, and that obviously didn't work out. But none of that matters now. You can right the ship at any time because everybody gets a second chance at life in the postseason.
No, it's gonna be so much fun. A little off topic. You mentioned super sectional venues or sites. Do you have an opinion on where they should be, or are you a traditional guy? I remember back in the day, it got to the point where they wanted to be in these big cavernous arenas, and it didn't feel right. I love the gyms. I don't know if you've seen Vincent Johnson's book, Illustrious Gyms, but it kind of features all the gyms around the state of Illinois. And I would love to see like Wharton Fieldhouse and Musgrove Fieldhouse and some of the places that we have kind of host those. And Musgrove has hosted some big super sectional championship games. So do you have a thought process on here we are, we're not even sure who's going to be hosting a certain super sectional. I think they should just put them at great venues around the state and let them go from there. Your thoughts?
I agree 100%. I would much rather watch a high school game in a high school gym. If you want to have the state finals in Champaign or Peoria, that's fine.
Yeah.
But a high school game in a high school gym, there's nothing better than that. And I think there's enough great gyms around the state where, there's no reason that Wharton or UT shouldn't be hosting a super sectional every year. Or a gym like Hinsdale Central, they used to host 2-class super sectional up in the west suburbs all the time. I think we're missing the opportunity, but I know that they like to get those super sectionals on a college floor so it can prepare them for those next two games. But maybe they should just play them all in school gyms. Maybe Pontiac should host the 2A state title game,
Be kind of crazy. It would be as well. Aaron, I appreciate this. This has been a lot of fun. Pump the stuff. Nesto Hoops on X. Talk about the website, how people can get there and donate and help you out and all those kind of things. Pump your stuff for us before we let you go.
Oh boy, I should have prepared. So nestohoops.com. It's a very crude website. There's 3 buttons on it. There's the spreadsheet button, and you can click that button, and it may take about a minute, but it'll open up this spreadsheet. And on this spreadsheet, you've got every team, every schedule, every conference standings, every tournament schedule in the entire state. It's all hyperlinked. It's very, I don't know. If you can work your way through a spreadsheet, you'll be able to work your way through this. There's subsectional breakdowns, super sectional breakdowns, a list of gyms that I've been to. My gym rankings are on there.
I love it.
It doesn't work very well on a mobile device. So if you're on a cell phone, that's the only way people like to get information now. So your best experience is going to be from a laptop or a desktop. Occasionally I've had people that have had success with tablets or even their phones, but I don't think iPhones work very good at all.
Sure.
So I'm still trying to find a way to make it a little bit more marketable and palatable for all of the mobile users. But, if you want to donate, you can donate. You want to send me an email and tell me how bad my rankings are or what score I have backwards, you can do that too.
I love it. And hey, I always say in TV, if you're getting complaints, it means they're watching. So that's the beautiful thing. If they're complaining, that means they're taking it in. On X, it's Nesto Hoops. Real quick, what's the best gym in the Western Big Six? So you're looking
Let me look at mine. Where do I have? I don't, because I got quite a few of them in my top 25.
Wharton Fieldhouse?
Yeah, Moline. I got Moline at number 9 in my favorite gyms in the state, and there's in the order it'd be Moline, Quincy, Rocky. The old Rocky gym is good. I mean, that's a Rocky pound for pound might have 2 of the best gyms in the state.
1,000%.
And then UT's gym is good, and I haven't been into there since they remodeled it, but that remodel looks great.
Yep.
Sterling's remodel from a few years ago really made that thing pop. And then even, Galesburg is a big gym. It's not quite at the same, notoriety or, doesn't have the same features in the gym, but Galesburg has a good gym. Geneseo's got a big gym. And I haven't been to Almond yet, but the pictures that I've seen, Almond looks really good too.
It's cozy. And it gets loud when people are in there. You've made my Alleman people very happy because you said nice things about Alleman. So my son and his friends and all that kind of stuff. Bless your heart. He might watch my show for once, which is kind of cool. So, Aaron, I appreciate you. Keep doing great work. I'll probably bug you again in the future. I've really appreciated your time, and best of luck the rest of the way when it comes to this crazy February and March. Thanks, buddy.
Yep. Thank you, Matt.
All right. Aaron Britton from Nesto Hoops joining us right here on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. A bunch of fun, and it's going to be a great journey in the postseason, and several area teams should have some good weeks ahead of them as well. We got more to get to. You're watching Off the Air. It's Thursday right here in the Quad Cities. We'll be right back.
Give me the keys. Learning to drive can be stressful for both the student and, yes, the parent as well. Relax. There's an easy way to avoid the stress. Skiles Driving School in East Moline has been helping new drivers hit the road with confidence for over 20 years. Whether you're a teen earning your first license or an adult looking for behind-the-wheel training, we've got you covered. Their certified instructors are patient, experienced, and use modern vehicles equipped for safety and comfort. From classroom instruction to real-world driving, we make learning safe, affordable, and even fun. Call 309-278-0098 or visit skylesdriving.com. Skiles Driving School. Get in, buckle up, drive your future forward.
Welcome back to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo here on a Thursday in the Quad Cities. High school basketball is on a lot of people's minds, and rightfully so. February, a fantastic month for high school hoops. It's heating up on both sides of the river. We're getting to that point of milestones being reached, records being broken, conference races coming down to the wire. And in fact, in the MAC for the ladies, there's already a MAC champion, an outright MAC champion up in DeWitt, the Central DeWitt Sabres, clinching the MAC outright title. And joining me now to talk all about it, a trio of Sabres. Kinley Birt on your left, Ava Putman in the middle, and Ava Putman on the right. Ladies, thank you for doing this. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Ava, I'll start with you. You guys are MAC champs, and I know when you write your list at the beginning of the year, obviously you have goals. MAC champions has got to be near the top of that. What does it mean to be not just MAC champs, but outright MAC champions right now?
Yeah, it was definitely one of our biggest goals of this year. And just being able to accomplish that is just huge for us. It just shows all the work that we put in has paid off. And just, yeah, it's been so fun, especially senior year. Like being able to say we're back-to-back MAC champs is just so cool.
Emma, talk about that because it's becoming tradition out in DeWitt, and obviously a special season last year. Almost a year last year where I don't want to say it wasn't expected, but you might have surprised a few people. This year a little different. People had high expectations for the Sabres. Was this year different than last year when it came to getting to the top of the mountain and winning that MAC championship?
I feel like we lost Lauren Walker, who was a big scorer, but like as a team, we've all stepped up and have been able to accomplish that.
Kinley, MAC champions your senior year, and there's so many great memories that happen. What goes through your mind when you guys finally clinch? You're MAC champions once again, and what was that celebration or party afterwards like when you guys realized you're MAC champions once again?
Yeah, it's fun. I kind of didn't realize it at first. We went into the Central game, and after, like the day after, they were talking. They're like, "We just secured it," and I was like thinking, and I was like, "We just secured Mac champs," and then it like all clicked, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, that's so cool that be able to accomplish that like right now and not having to finish that as our last game." I mean, going into Friday, it's going to be a huge game for us, and we want to win that. But I think just being able to have that spot secured kind of just shows that who we are.
Absolutely. Ava, she mentioned Friday. It's 17-1, 18-0. One sounds better, right? 18-0 sounds pretty cool. Undefeated, but it's not going to be easy. Going to Bettendorf and taking on a very talented Bettendorf team. Kind of talk about that, because yes, the MAC championship's not on the line, but there's still a lot to play for this group coming up on Friday, isn't there?
Yeah, I mean, we definitely don't want to end the conference on a loss, and just being able to be undefeated in the conference would be so cool. So it's definitely going to be a big game. We're going to have to come in, a lot of energy, and just step up and really get that dub.
Emma, I think it's a 20-game winning streak. I don't want to jinx it. Or do you guys know the winning streak, how many you've won in a row? Do you keep track of all that, or do you just play one game at a time and worry about one opponent at a time?
I feel like we just do like one game at a time. We really look forward to the next game we have and just prepare for that.
Kinley, you guys mentioned having to replace Lauren, and she was MAC Player of the Year last year. She was outstanding. But I know everybody else has kind of stepped up. When did you realize, I guess, that this was going to be a special group? Did you know coming in that it could be an undefeated MAC type of team and all those kind of things? Or was there a point in the season where you're like, all right, we miss Lauren. She was awesome, but we can do this. We got this.
I feel like not having Lauren kind of was just like hard on us. It took a minute to adjust, but I think over the summer, like I said, there's 5 seniors that have been playing together for so long, and then you have like Emma and Audie that are the siblings, and Audie played with us last year, and then Emma stepped up huge this season, and I think I was like, we got this again. And yeah, losing Lauren kind of like sucked, and more people had to step up. I feel like a lot of people are stepping in her roles, and we're all like kind of sharing, and I think everyone kind of just steps up. So the first game we lost obviously, but I feel like that was kind of just like our learning point, all getting ready to like play together. And then after that, I was kind of like, I know like our team, I believe that we can go far and like do good things. So I feel like I knew like at the beginning of the season that we
Absolutely. Ava, individually, I know it's a team game and all those kind of things, but individually, I believe you reached a milestone last week, about 1,000-ish points. And not that you're counting. Did you know? Were you prepared? Did somebody tell you? And how special is that? You look at you, and I go back to I'm old, like Lindsey Smith days, and like I go way back when it comes to the amount of players and the talent that they've had at Central DeWitt to be 1,000 points scorer. What was that like for you? What does it mean? And when did you know about it?
Well, first of all, coming into this season, it was definitely one of my big individual goals that I knew that I wanted to reach. So I worked really hard over the season just to accomplish that. And I kind of had like an idea of how close I was. Me and my mom kind of like calculated it. So, and then when I got it on senior night, I was 2 points away, and just getting it on senior night was so cool, especially with the crowd and just all the support I had. It was so amazing.
Emma, watching big sister do that, does that give you obviously motivation? And you mentioned the siblings, Kinley, what's it like being the little sister? And obviously you're making your name for yourself and everything like that, but had to be cool to watch big sister do that last week.
Yeah, it was really fun. I'm glad I got to experience it with her. I worked really hard in the off season to get to where we are this year, and so I just feel like that it's really cool to be able to be with her.
Absolutely. Kinley, the MAC is very important. There's this little rivalry over there on that highway you go up to Makokata, and they're there, you're down here, and y'all don't love each other very much. I don't want to say you hate each other, but like that's a great rivalry. And anybody who's been around sports in the Quad Cities knows about Maquoketa and Central DeWitt, and two fantastic basketball programs too. You guys got them last week by 3, I think. I know it's not a conference rivalry anymore, but Kinley, how important was that game? And I know two really good basketball teams here in the eastern side of the state.
It was actually really like being able to end our senior season on the win, even like losing the past 2 years, kind of just was like a relief, I guess, if that's how I want to put it. They're a good team. They have been. Growing up, we've always been playing them. We've always been rivals with them. So it's always been a competitive game because especially since their 5 seniors are like their starting 5 and they just have a great group of a senior class. So it was a huge win for us.
No, absolutely. Ava, you have to enjoy that, right? And you won't see each other this year in the postseason. They're 3A, you're 4A. So I don't want to get you in trouble, but do you kind of have a little bragging rights? I mean, like they're not going to see him again. It's important to win the last one, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Definitely bragging about it now that we got to end out beating them. That was definitely our goal because we did not want to lose 3rd time in a row.
I love it. I love it. I want to talk to you guys about the future. Obviously, we met North this week, but the postseason is quickly here. Ava, you're a senior. How do you balance enjoying this? You mentioned senior night. You mentioned the last games with Maquoketa, last MAC game coming up. How do you make sure you enjoy it, but then at the same time you have lofty goals? Like this team is really good. What's the expectations heading into the postseason, and how do you guys approach it heading in?
Well, first of all, I mean, it's gone so fast that I just know that I have to enjoy every minute because it's going to be over so soon. And just going into the postseason, just making sure we work hard literally every day just to prepare for that, because definitely want to get back to state. That'd be huge for us. And just being able to do that our senior year would be so fun. And, yeah, definitely the goal. So just coming to practice every day ready to work.
Chatting with a trio of Sabres right here and off the air with Matt Randazzo. Ava, I'm going to stay with you because I got your little sister next to you. Are you helpful as she continues to improve in her career? Is it competitive? I hate to ask this. Are you still the better Putman, or how does that rivalry go? Be honest. Okay. I won't tell her.
Well, okay, I think she definitely, I'm going to admit it. I think she's definitely a better shooter than me. But I feel like all around, sorry, Emma, but I feel like I am better. I mean, I am 2 years older, have more experience, so that could be why. But, yeah, I just feel like, sorry, probably the better sister.
No, Emma, let me ask you, Emma, because there's got to be one-on-one games, right? Like, are you guys playing one-on-one a lot? And are they equal? Do you beat her? Does she beat you all the time? And maybe when did you start beating her? Because you're a little sister. I always beat my older brother, but that's a different story. When did you finally get competitive enough to beat big sister?
Yeah, we've always 1v1'd. I would say just in the past year is when I started winning, because I
not all the time.
No,
just
it's definitely even. It'll be once. It'll be different every week. We switch back and forth.
It's whoever's making their shots. The winner.
I'm trying to start a sibling rivalry. I'm going to go to Kinley to get out of trouble here real fast. What is it like for that? And you mentioned there's 2 sets of sisters on the team, and then you guys are all close in general. But seeing family, and I mean, it just makes that team, I'm sure, closer. Kinley, kind of talk about the dynamics of sibling rivalries as you guys are practicing and all those kind of things as well.
Okay, basically, I'm going to admit it. These 2 right here fight the most during practice. You have Audie and Zoe on the other end that I feel love each other a little. I mean, they love each other, obviously, but they're definitely the most competitive. And so I feel they are always chirping at each other. And then Zoe and Audie are kind of hugging and caring and supportive of each other. But yeah, but overall, I feel like we all get along, and just having like the special connections with like siblings and stuff. And I've obviously grown up with them, so being able to like be a part of like their journey too is kind of nice.
I feel like Kinley's here to play mediator. Why didn't we put her in the middle? I thought that might have been a better idea if we did that. But the Central DeWitt Girls joining us on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. Some fun questions for you guys, and we can go around and ask. Anybody can answer, and we can have some fun. Is there a celebratory dinner? Like, where's the place to go if you guys win? Or do you go to a house? Is there a team spot when it comes to food? I know that I don't want to be mean, but I know it's like McDonald's up there or whatever. I don't think there's a ton, but go ahead.
I feel like it just depends. I feel like recently it's been McDonald's. Like our whole team will just go to McDonald's and hang out after the game. But like sometimes, I know last year a lot of times we went to Hall of Fame. We've gone to Murphy's a couple times this year. Yeah, just kind of between those three, I'd say.
I love it. Emma, is there a class clown on the team? And I mean that in a nice way. Someone that's always lightening up the mood a little bit and maybe making people laugh a little bit. I like how you're conversing. It's like you're huddling up to make sure you're on the same page.
I feel like it's so funny.
Yeah, I feel like just all together, we're just funny. Like,
we just joke around.
I mean, we also can be really serious too. So like, it just like
depends on the day.
Yeah,
I love it. Kinley, is there any superstitions with this team? And if so, what's the superstitions? Or yourself? Are you superstitious?
Okay. Before every game, and we just like have to dance it out. So we do the Cotton Eye Joe.
Really?
Like,
we did this last. Yeah, if you remember that.
Yeah,
yes.
We do that before every, just in the locker room before, dance it all out, get all of our nerves out.
Is Coach O'Brien taking part in the dancing of this at all?
No, they make sure that we do it before they come in.
If he ever does that, can you make sure to get video for me?
Yes, we definitely will.
I want to talk about Coach O'Brien because I've known him for a long time. Really good dude, and I like to give him a hard time. What does he mean to this group? I mean, he's a really good basketball coach who's seen it on every level, all over the state, all that kind of stuff. What does he mean to you, ladies? Ava, I guess I'll go with you. What does Coach O'Brien mean to this team? And remember, you're still his player for a little while longer, so you got to be nice. You better be nice here.
No, he's a great coach, and we all have such a good relationship with him, especially, I mean, me and Kinley, he was our coach since freshman year. So just being able to go from freshman year to now with him has just been so fun. And he definitely brings the jokes sometimes, but you can be serious. It's just so fun playing under him.
Ava, I'm going to start with you, and we'll quickly around. If you could have dinner with anybody in the world, who would it be and why? I gave Kinley a chance to think. Look at her. She's just starting to think right away.
I guess I'll go with Caitlin Clark.
It's a good answer. I don't know if you have to explain why. Do you have to explain why?
No.
It's Caitlin Clark, right?
Yeah. She's the GOAT.
Yeah, absolutely. Emma, are you going to copy Big Sister? You can't copy Big Sister now.
I was gonna say Caitlin Clark.
Okay.
If I had to say someone, yeah, actually, I would probably say like Kevin Hart because he's just funny. Like I feel like it'd just be fun to be sitting with him.
That's actually a really good. You're not the first person who's answered is Kevin Hart. I'm telling you that right now. All right, Kinley, you've had all this time to think. I'm expecting this amazing answer, so lay it on me.
Okay, I'm thinking Michael Jordan. I feel like, I don't know, I just hear all the talk about him. And so I just want to be able to just like, I don't know, talk to him. Experience it, I guess.
Do you think, ladies in general, Michael Jordan or LeBron James, who's better?
Michael Jordan, definitely.
Michael Jordan.
you guys have restored my faith in young people all over the world, because I get in arguments on the show all the time with everybody comes on and says LeBron. We're going to leave it at that, because you guys are the smartest three girls in the history of the world. Very good job. Keep doing great things. Good luck on Friday against Bettendorf. Tell Coach O'Brien I said thank you, but make sure you keep giving a hard time, because he needs to be given a hard time. So I appreciate it. Go win a bunch of games. We'll do this again maybe after a state championship. How does that sound?
Yeah, sounds
All
great.
Right. Thanks, ladies. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. That is a trio of Sabres. That was a lot of fun. Ava and Emma Putman, and of course, Kinley Birt joining us on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. Good luck to them against Bettendorf. And this side of the state, we talked about it yesterday with Todd Borson from Makokada. There's a lot of talent, 3A, 4A, and then 5A as well. So best of luck. The postseason nearly here. We got more to get to. You're watching OTA on a Thursday right here in the Quad Cities. We'll be right back.
Hello, Dan Pearson here of FCA. Our team is thrilled to support Off the Air with our good friend Matt Randazzo. We share the view of the power of sport when it comes to relationships, including the influence of the coach. FCA believes the coach is the most influential person in America. Matt celebrates local coaches and athletes. His content is informational, insightful, and inspirational. Our Fellowship of Christian Athlete team loves partnering with Off the Air with Matt Randazzo while we engage, equip, and empower coaches and athletes in our 23 counties. FCA, the heart and soul in sports.
View from the West, the podcast covering Illinois high school football.
It's going to be a hard-hitting game. It's going to be great football.
Weekly analysis and reaction from around the western side of the state of Illinois.
This is the game we had circled when the year started.
Follow along on YouTube and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts.
It's big-time football out there tonight, and I know we can play big-time football.
View from the West. We got you covered.
Are you looking for the Quad City's best chips and salsa? There's only one dude to turn to.
Right on.
Snoop. Hand-cut chips, fried fresh with that crunch you've come to love. And the most addicting salsa with delicious fresh ingredients each and every time. Pick up your chips and salsa, queso, enchiladas, and much more at the Stern Center in Rock Island. To place your order, simply call the man himself. It's Snoop at 309-314-8197 and find out for yourself what the rest of the Quad Cities already loves. Welcome back to Off Day with Matt Randazzo here on a Thursday in the Quad Cities. February 12th, thank you guys for joining us. It's been a busy show once again. We started things off with Tom Kakert talking college basketball and a mixed night for the Hawkeyes. Bad loss for the men. Good win for the women. Get back on track. It's going to be a crazy February. It's a roller coaster ride. I was telling my kids last night. You look at this week and Illinois loses their second straight. Iowa State loses at TCU. Iowa loses at Maryland. If you would have talked to all of them a week ago right now, they're all on cloud nine. So college hoops is crazy, and get ready for it, because I think all three programs will be fine in the end and all those kind of things. But definitely some ups and downs in the world of college basketball. So Tom Kakert talking about all that. Nesto Hoops, Aaron Britton joined us. Really fun to kind of look ahead to the postseason when it comes to, we went 4A, 2A, 1A, and kind of just broke down our area teams and what their prospects look as they get ready to get ready for the postseason. One more week next week, and then the postseason is officially here. It's here already for the ladies next week. So it'll be a busy time here on OTA as we do a lot of high school basketball. That's the cool thing, is because high school football, it's on the weekends, so Mondays are busy or whatever. These crazy regionals are going to happen on Thursdays and Fridays and Tuesday big games and all of those kind of things. So we will keep dated and have a lot of great guests right here on OTA. And then also thank you to the three lovely ladies that just joined us from Central DeWitt, Ava Putman, Emma, and Kinley Birt. They are looking to go undefeated in the MAC. 18-0. They'll have a big game at the at Bettendorf, at the Dog Pound coming up this week. So thank you to those three as well. Before we get out of here, I saw this morning, and it really kind of, it didn't surprise me because that's the way college hoops are nowadays. But Kansas State has been really, really bad. I mean, really, really bad. They lost last night at home, 91-62 to Cincinnati. It was their second straight really bad loss. I believe they've lost their last two games by a combined 70 points. And their head coach, Jerome Tang, addressed the media afterwards. This is basically his entire press conference after the game. Didn't last too long, and he was very, very strong with his words towards his team. Take a listen.
Hey, I'm gonna honor Christ like I always do. Blessed to do this, but this was embarrassing. These dudes do not deserve to wear this uniform. There will be very few of them in it next year. I'm embarrassed for the university. I'm embarrassed for our fans, our student section. You know, it is just ridiculous. We got practice at 6 a.m. tomorrow morning, and we will get this thing right. I have no answer and no words. So y'all got two questions. So whoever want to ask two questions, I'll be right now. But right now, like I'm like pissed, and this is all right. Questions.
I guess it just kind of comes puzzling if you look at your road and home splits. The last 4 road games have been down the wire. When you run off the court, just kind of.
Don't know. I asked the staff this week that same question, and they said that more the opponents. You play. I don't know, because I followed Minnesota last year closely, and they played great on the road and struggled at home. So then they started staying in hotels at home, like treating it like a road game. And so I even talked about, hey, do we need to change that change? But no, none of that crap matter, man. These dudes got to have some. They got some pride, man. They got some pride. It means something to wear a K-State uniform. It means something to put on this purple, man. Our everything this university is about and all that it's been about. Why I love this place, man. Like they don't love this place, so they don't deserve to be here.
Just what did you make of the student section with paper bags on their heads?
Yeah, I'd wear a paper bag too if I was them. Thanks a lot, fellas. God bless. Hey, I'm
an interesting press conference, to say the least. When I was younger, I guess, and starting in the business and covering press conferences, a lot of times coaches will protect players. It seems to be becoming less and less of that, and kind of thinking big picture of that. He talked about having pride in the jersey, and it's a lot of places, not just Kansas State, but it's hard to sometimes have pride for a jersey when you're switching jerseys every single year. And I got to go to the Kansas State roster and look at all of that. And also being critical of athletes. It used to be like, hey, take it easy. They're not paid professionals. The coach is the paid professional. They're student athletes. They're representing the school. It's not the case anymore. These are pro athletes, basically. A lot of them are getting paid. And so just seeing more of those type of press conferences, I feel a little different than I used to. I used to, probably the Steve Alford era was like, oh, Steve threw some of his guys under the bus. That's not what he should do. And it's so different now. It's like, well, he's throwing his guys under the bus. They're getting paid a lot of money, some of them. And so if you're not playing for the pride of the jersey is funny to me, because I do think a lot of them still do. I'm not saying that everybody doesn't, but when the jersey changes a lot, it's not like it's a bunch of kids that grew up loving Kansas State and dreamt of playing Kansas State basketball or whatever college it is. So just listening to that today peaked. I think it was 2 minutes and 20 seconds. It sparked a some debate in my mind of what used to be what college coaches approach things. And you look at Brad Underwood yesterday, and I'm not comparing the two cases completely, apples and oranges, but he's been very transparent, open-minded when it comes to, not open-minded, probably transparent and outspoken when it comes to the officiating in the Big Ten. And it's not been very good. So anyways, there's my little rant at the end of the show. A lot to get to tomorrow. I'm hoping to have my mentor, Dan Birch, on the show. Dan knows Roger Craig, covered all of that, and went to Ambrose with his brother Artez. So somebody that that has a great opinion on Roger Craig finally making the Hall of Fame. So, and Dan has a lot of opinions about everything, and that hasn't changed. So hoping Dan Birch and some more as we work our way through the end of the week. One more episode tomorrow. Most likely not going to have a show on Monday. President's Day, kids out of school, some things I got to get done with when it comes to behind the scenes stuff. So probably no show on Monday. I'll let you guys know for sure on tomorrow's show. But it's been a great week. Go back and check out the shows this week. If you've watched us for the first time this week and you're not subscribing, please do that as well. And thank you guys so much for watching another episode of OTA as we keep clicking these off. We'll see you guys back again tomorrow.